Hello everyone, I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'm going to be breaking down our next matchup for UFC on ESPN 73. This one we have Sean Sharaf taking on Sharaf and Asplund. Oh my god. It is hilarious to me how the first four fights on this card all have the same thing to them, right? Women's fights with not even 10 fights, win or lose, to their name. Barely 10 fights to their name. Heavyweights going after it. Again, with barely 10 fights. Hell, some of them only have 5 fights to their name. And the same thing again. Women's fight, almost all 10 or less fights. Heavyweight fight, 5 or less fights. More or less. Like, oh my god. Oh man. Again, filling out this heavyweight division, and as for the women's fights, sometimes it is what it is on that. But ironically, after this fight, the card gets really good in my opinion. So, without further ado, let's break down this fight. So, Sean Sharaf and Sharaf and Asplund, two heavyweights with more or less kind of the same career path, very raw and new to the UFC. Fun guys with knockout power for sure. But they arrived at the UFC at different points. Sean Sharaf was 4-0 and looked pretty good, more or less. Jackson Wink guy coming up, see what he could do. Then last October, which is kind of crazy, it took him this long to come back. He fights Junior Tafa on short notice, gets knocked out in a fight that is very reminiscent of like the early 2000s, just two heavyweights, tired as hell and just keep swinging like until one of them gets knocked out. Now granted, losing Junior Tafa is pretty bad, but again, he took that on short notice, so Sharaf gets a pass. Meanwhile, Sharaf and Asplund, kind of a fun guy, very nice motivational story from the Contender Series, obese guy. His father was a former fighter, and now Asplund takes on the name Concrete, and worked and got much better shape. Eventually became a fighter, became 6-1. Pretty fun fighter overall. I'd say, vicious knockouts in his last 3 fights, and one of them against Anthony Corsiaro, which was, I thought, impressive. His only loss is to Denzel Freeman, who is also in the UFC now. And, I picked Freeman to win his fight. So overall, not a bad loss, I would say. I think both guys are, I don't know about all their upside potential, but what I do know is that for however long they'll stay on the roster, it should be fun, win or lose, because I think these two are either going to knock out their opposition or get knocked out. So, starting with Sean Sharaf. Give me one moment here. He, I don't know what it says. Sharaf is somewhat of a technical striker. He does work well behind some straight punches. He's got a good sharp jab, and his mechanics are all right. He does throw pretty good combination, which is better than a lot of regional level heavyweights. I will say that. Most of these heavyweights are either 1 or 1 and 2 strikes. Usually there's a pause in between that, or just the one lunging strike. But I think Sharaf can at least throw some combinations. He's got all right head movement, and I'd say he's pretty durable. He did take a lot of shots from Junior Tafa, who was a former kickboxer. And the TKO was a standing TKO. It wasn't necessarily that he got, rocked and dropped awful. But it was just, he simply could not take the power coming his way. I wouldn't say he's a one-shot knockout artist, but he's got good timing. But his timing is where his danger really comes from. He can catch opponents off walking into counters, especially with the right hand of his. I mean, look at most of his knockouts. Most of them, except for his last win against L.J. Torres, was a big overhand right. But most of them are ground and pound. I will say this. Sharaf can wrestle. He can grapple. It's serviceable, but it's not dominant. But he can scramble. He can get off the fence. He can defend early takedowns. He himself can shoot takedowns as well. And you saw that with Junior Tafa, where he was going for the takedown until Tafa grabbed the fucking fence. But, like I said, Sharaf can wrestle. I will say, Sharaf tends to slow down when the fight becomes more physical. You literally saw that against Hoffa. And if an opponent pressures him and his output does drop and he does become much more hittable, his style is more or less built on rhythm. And if you break the rhythm, you kind of break his game. Overall, Sharav's got good straight punches. He's got good early defense, relies heavily on space and rhythm, and can be pushed and out-muscled, and his cardio can fade under pressure. Meanwhile, looking at Steve Asplund, he is a pressure-first fighter for sure. He likes to get in his opponent's face, walk him down, and force close quarter exchanges. He's pretty strong in the clinch, strong on entries, and he can make opponents fight at a pace that they're very uncomfortable with. I'd say Asplund's striking he's not as clean as Sharaf for sure, but he is damn effective. He throws hard, he throws in combinations as well. He doesn't give opponents space to breathe. So where he lacks in finesse, he does make up for it in commitment. I'd say Asplund really separates himself with good wrestling pressure. He can shoot for takedowns, and he does, and he's good at turning defensive positions into dominant ones. Now, that being said, Freeman did sub him up, but Freeman does have a wrestling background, so that's kind of forgivable. Yeah, because Freeman can wrestle for sure. I'd say, though, Asplund, once he gets the fight to the ground, he is pretty heavy on top. He's got vicious ground and pound, absolutely dangerous, and his power is legit. And I would say Asplund has a pace that does hold pretty well. He's won decisions before in his last win against Larry Gonzalez in the LFA almost 2 years ago. That was a decision. And so the fact that we know Asplund can win a 15-minute fight is very important in this because Sharaf has never gone the distance. So I say Asplund does have a pace that holds up. He may not be the most explosive athlete, but he's damn relentless. There we go. And the key against someone like Sharaf, who slows down when forced to wrestle and/or against athletic, fight more, or not athletic fighters to overwhelm him, that is something big. So I think Asplund's a good pressure fighter. He does have good wrestling, but most importantly, it's his power and his just in-your-face style. So the way I see it, it really just comes down to the physicality of both these guys, the pressure of Asplund versus the more or less better precision of Sharaf. I say Sharaf's best moments will be early at range. Before the pressure ramps up, he can land sharp jabs, good counters, and exit off angles. Well, but if Asplund gives some space, I think Sharaf absolutely has the better boxing. But that space is exactly what Asplund won't give him. And Asplund's pressure forces Sharaf to constantly fight off the back foot against this more or less marauder who's coming after him like he owed him money. So I think once Asplund closes the distance, I think Sharaf's punches become harder to set up. I think Asplund can just bully Sharaf in the clinch, and I think the physical grind will play a big factor in wearing down Sharaf's gas tank. Overall, I think Sean Sharaf is clean, technical, and dangerous early, but his style depends a little more on space and control. And I think Steve Asplund is the kind of fighter who takes the space away and forces opponents to fight his fight. I'm going to go with Steven Asplund, and I'm going to pick him to win this fight via knockout. I just think he's going to swarm Sharaf, not give him a moment to breathe, and just kind of mug him, more or less. Because I believe in Steve Asplund's power. I think it's legit. I think can, like I said, swarm Sharaf, and I don't think he's going to give him a chance to breathe in this fight. So once again, I'm going with Steven Asplund, and I'm going to pick him via knockout in this one. But with that being said, that's been my breakdown of this fight. If you liked the video, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win. But until then, I've been Bo from Brutal Commentary. Stay calm, stay respectful, and enjoy the violence. I'll see you all next time.